Okay, so in this next second part of the video, we're now going to get indirect objects. And so you might want to download this PowerPoint in the video description, either this version, which is third person only, which is people using my curriculum, or Lingua Latina per se illustrata, or the one down there that is for all three persons if you're using some other curriculum. Okay, so again, these videos do not cover third declension because we don't learn those till chapter 9. So we're just going to do I and O and E as our dative endings. And previously we learned the intransitive verbs, favor, please, trust, and respond. And they only got one object, a dative object of an intransitive verb. But now in this next part of the video, we're going to get an accusative object also. So we're going to have two objects. So previously we had an object of an intransitive verb like she pleases Marcus, but now we're going to make it a transitive verb like give. Let's bring that in on the English. And then in the center we're going to insert a preliminary object, the thing being given ultimately to someone, who is now going to be called our indirect object. So you give a direct object to an indirect object, like she gives the apple to Marcus. Ella marcó malum dat. Now, boy, David, but this is so backward. I don't like it. Well, guess what? If you think about it the right way, it's not hard. She to Marcus, now you've just established who are the people involved, malum dat. And malum here is almost like a piece of the verb. So malum dat, pirum dat, rosam dat, whatever you want to say. So it's really just two halves of the sentence, the personal half and the impersonal half. Ea marcó malum dat. Okay, so this is the way this is going to look on the chart. You're going to give an accusative, or as, os, or a, to a dative, is, or I, or o. But it's not just giving. These verbs that can take a secondary indirect object in addition to their normal direct object are almost universally verbs of giving, showing, or telling. So far these are the ones we've had. Dat dare, to give. Other verbs of giving are, for instance, portat portare, to carry, vehit veheret, to carry. Now we don't have any verbs for showing. We'll get that in the next chapter, but we do have two verbs for telling. Cantat cantare, you can sing something to someone, or respondet respondere, you can respond something like a word to someone. So when you see a verb, get used to thinking to yourself, oh, is that a verb of giving, showing, or telling? Because if it is, it might have a secondary object in the dative case, which we call, of course, an indirect object. All right, so the way this works is these give a direct object to an indirect object. So they have two objects, and where it used to be called object of intransitive verb, now it is called an indirect object. All righty. So in this video, we're not doing first and second person. You can do those in the other version from the link down in the video description. We're just doing here T and NT for third person. So our two agents are he and she, isdat and eadat, or plural eidant. So step 1, say the accusative. So what are we giving? An apple or something else? So what are our possible accusatives that I'm going to have here? These endings are going to be or as, or os, or if it's neuter plural, ah. And these are what we call direct objects. So for instance, if you give an apple, it's malum, just the same thing. If it's apples, mala, just the same thing, because that's the neuter role. Nominative equals accusative in the neuter. If you give a book, it's librum. Books are libros. A paper is going to be cartam, or papers is going to be cartas. So you tell me, what would this be in its accusative form? Good. What about this one? Good. What about this one? Yep. This one? Yup. That one? Okay. And this one? Simple. All right. You're going to have to do that again now. Okay, so we just added an accusative. Now we're going to have to add a dative also, and it's called an indirect object. So here we go. But this is just the same as what you did in the last part of the video. It's the same endings. So she gives a book to the boy. What would this be? Now first you do your dative, puero Marco, then the accusative and the verb. Librum dat. See how that works? You kind of work backward down the chain. Ea puero librum dat. All right. She gives papers to the servants. Ea servis tavo medoque cartas dat. Right? Okay. Hey, you're starting to say complex Latin sentences. All right. Now you try the rest. They give the table to the boys. What would that be? All right, keep going. What would this be? Now you're dancing. Wow. Maybe not. All right, replace the dative with an irregular personal pronoun. All right, so now we're going to start giving it to me or to you or to him, her, or it. Or to the one, we should just say. So this is just going to be the top singular line. Mihi, tibi, e, and sibi. And of course, we don't deal with the nominative yet. And of course, these are third declension-ish endings. All right, so to me, to you, to the one, or to oneself, of whatever gender or number. Singular, plural, masculine, feminine, doesn't matter. Self or selves. So, what about he gives the books to me? Okay. Try the next one. To you. You know, in all of these, you want to try to say the whole sentence in one go. You want to try to figure out the pieces, but then say the whole sentence in one go. Because you want to hear the sound of the sentence in your ear, or at least bouncing around your mind after you say it. So don't just deal with individual words, because you want to get in the habit of saying complete sentences.
Or at least complete phrases.
All right, what about he gives the books to himself?
Or at least
the books to himself. Great. Alrighty, we're making progress. Hooray! Alright, so now we're going to use plurals. Nobis to us, wobis to y'all, eis to them, or the ones, and sibi to themselves. Okay, so if it's these two, me and you, it's going to be us. If it's you and someone else, it's going to be y'all. And if it's two other people, it's going to be the ones or them. All right, so nobis, vobis, and eis are the forms you should be using now. And of course, plural oneselves, sibi. Alrighty, so he gives the books to us. Should be pretty simple. What about those ones over there give the paper to us? So think it through. First the doer, then the final recipient, then the thing given as part of the verb. Right? Okay. These give apples to y'all. They give
the paper
to themselves. All right, now we're going to have those people out on the peripheries being the recipients. So to this one, to that one, huic and illi, and to these and to those, his and illis. Alrighty, so they are in the charts. And remember, these are naughty 9 endings, except that the C just means here. And for those who care, here are the other naughty 9s that also have these 2 weird endings. Unus nauta, plus the pronouns. All right, here we go. So how do we say to this one? Like that. Or to this one feminine, same thing. Or to these, he's. What about up here? How do we say to that woman? Or to that man? Or to those? Elise. All right. So obviously all of these are normal except huic is kind of different. You would think it would be just hui, kind of like illi, but remember you got to have that C on it. All right, so you try it. He gives the paper to this one. All right. What about she gives the books to this one? You know, you can kind of like pause after you do the dative. Say like, ea huic. Then think, libros dat. That's okay too. So I guess you don't have to do it all in one sentence, even though it's good if you do it all in one sentence. Alrighty, so what about they give the papers to these ones? Okay, and these ones give the books to those ones. All right. This one gives a book to that one, feminine. This one gives papers to those. Prandium! Placet nativi hoc capitulum, placet mihi multum. Okay, so now we have completed all the training for datives so far. At this point, there's only one PowerPoint left in which all these things that you learned here are scrambled up randomly. Sometimes you'll have a sentence with a direct and indirect object, and sometimes you'll have a sentence with just an objective and an intransitive verb, and they'll change. So I highly encourage you to go to
this final and 4th PowerPoint entitled Random, which can also be done as a competition in class.
And I encourage you to attempt these on your own from this download. Now, as usual, you can use either the version that I'm doing right now with just 3rd person, or you can do the other version with all 3 persons. Additionally, you could kind of do it like a test in class, where all the slide numbers here have blanks, and each student writes in their answer, and then you check them at the end. Now this is the second to last slide in the
PowerPoint.
So how you run this competition
or test or self-study
is entirely up to you. You can just go through it on your own, or you can just go through it publicly, saying it out loud, or you can do the quiet version where everybody writes down the answer. So I hope you enjoy it, and I highly encourage you to do this last random Datives PowerPoint, and this will tell you whether or not you have mastered the concepts, and if you haven't, it'll probably get you to the point where you are mastering them. So enjoy it and have a fun Chapter 7, and see you in Chapter 8.
when we learn pronouns.
Waleta!